In the previous video, we looked at how to create a search bar in the table view. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to define the table view cell class in charge of managing the cell inside the table. We will update the method inside the class requestManager to return a photo instance and a UI image. And finally, we're going to see the app with images retrieved from the API. In the video 5.1, we defined a UI image for each cell using the storyboard. Now, we will set the class to manage every cell every time it is needed. Let's start inserting a progress indicator just in the middle of the cell, while a request is made to the API. The indicator is loading until an image is loaded completely. Find an indicator in the object library and arrange it to the middle of the image. Perfect. Let's define constraints to always be in the middle of the cell. Mark it and click in Align. Let's mark it vertically in the container and add. OK. Fix the rest of the constraints and let Xcode add the missing constraints for us. OK, perfect. The progress indicator was added to the cell. Let's mark the two properties in Attributes Inspector for the activity indicator in animating and hides when it's stopped. Now we need to add a new class to handle the table view cell. Let's do it by creating a new iOS class and inheriting from the class UI table view cell. In the name, put photo table view cell and save it inside the controllers group. Now we have a new class called photo table view cell created. Let's say to Xcode that this class will manage the cells for Search Table View Controller using Interface Builder. Mark the cell in the hierarchy level and then in the Identity Inspector set the class for Table View as New Class, created Photo Table View Cell. We need to add Interface Builder's outlets for the activity indicator and images. For more reference on outlets, refer to. To do this, mark the content view inside the cell and then select Assistant Editor to view the class that handles the cell. To create outlets, press the Control key and arrange it inside the class. Select Outlet and put the name Main Image for the image. Repeat the same process to the activity indicator and name it as Activity Indicator. Perfect. Let's put the rest of the code for the class using this snippet. Previously, in the video 5.1, we learned about the process of reusing cells in the table view to preserve memory. But this can be problematic every time we make a request asynchronously. And if the cell is scrolled and the request is not complete, we can find images out of place because they have not been set yet. To avoid this, we define a variable inside the class so that every time a cell is going to be reused, it increments its value in the method prepareForReuse. Every time we set a value for the variable photo data in his didSet method, we clear the image. Save the index in another constant called indexNow. Before the request is made and completed, we check if the indexes are equal. In that case, the cell is still visible and we put the value of the image, else the cell was reused and the request is useless. Since the request is made in background, we are going to update controls in the user interface. We need to use the Grand Central Dispatch library to put an update in the main thread, updating images and stopping the activity indicator. For more reference about GCD library, visit We have to update our methods in the class requestManager to return a list of photo instances so as to facilitate the work method and get the image to return a UI image directly. Let's delete this and put the updated code using this snippet. We can now update the Search Table View controller to start to show the requested images. Let's declare an array of photo instances as data source and reload the table view data every time it is set. We need to make a request in the beginning of the load of table view. So put a call to the API inside ViewDidLoad and set the value of data source as new array of photos returned. Finally, we have to set up the number of row in section with the size of the data source and populate the cells of the table view inside the cell for row at index path. Cast the cell to Photo Table View cell because it's the type of cell to access the property photo data. Let's run the app to see it in action. Perfect. The images are loaded perfectly, and if we scroll down, we can see how the rest of the images are loading. In this video, we learned to set the data for each cell and to manage requests properly. In the next video, we will learn how to pass the data selected in the table view to another controller every time a cell is tapped. Great!